Hey everybody, Ava and I were just discussing why motorcycle seats are so uncomfortable. And did we come up with an answer? Well, maybe we have, but let me take you back in time first. I wonder if she's going to sit there the whole time. We'll just jump off in a moment. Let's see. Let me take you back in time first. So, when I passed my test, I was 17, passed my test. Immediately I bought myself a Triumph Bonneville 650, and 4 months later I was riding it to Spain. No problems at all. The seat was fine. Got myself a 750 Bonneville, rode it right around Europe, 2,500 miles in 10 days with my brother on the back. Perfect. BMW 800, rode it everywhere in Europe, never had an issue. Likewise, Moto Guzzi California, a load of different Harley glides. And then I bought myself a BMW GS 1200. And, I really loved that bike. I absolutely loved it. I went all over Europe on it. And again, I never have a problem. However, lots and lots of people said that they did. And in fact, on the forums, people were saying, why are the seats so uncomfortable? What is the issue here? So I thought to myself, well, I'll do a little digging. And I was working out, sorry, Eva, did you want to jump down? Oh, good girl. Working out that, is it a case, I was trying to work out, is it a case that the seats have got less padding in because they want to make the bikes lighter? So, they're always publishing the dry weight or the wet weight of a motorcycle, and they're always trying to make these big bikes lighter. So maybe they've taken some of the filling out. So maybe that's the reason. And then I thought to myself, well, maybe then it's the style of the bike, i.e., they're very narrow, the seats, that allows you to move back and forth. And the reason I say this is because, in particular, I hired a F750, the BMW F750 GS in Mexico City, and I rode it 10 hours a day, 2 or 3 days to get over to the west coast near Guadalajara and onto Puerto Vallarta, and then rode down towards Acapulco, and then all the way back in. So 2 or 3 days of 10 hours in the saddle, and other days just of long days, 4, 5, 6 hours. And honestly, I felt like you could put a brick on that saddle, a literal house brick, and it would be comfier. I mean, it was that uncomfortable. Now, I'm not a big guy. I've always been I would say on a small size. So I can't put it down to me changing much. I just generally think they've taken out the padding on some bikes to make it lighter, and equally to enable shorter riders, which I am, able to get their feet on the ground. The problem with that is that for anybody wanting to do long distance, and I'm talking 4, 5, 6, maybe 7 or 8 hours in the saddle, it becomes really uncomfortable. And one thing I know about bikes, and having ridden them since, as I say, since 17, is comfort is hugely important. It helps you stay awake, alert. Tiredness you don't want on a motorcycle. You can make stupid mistakes. So, for me, a comfortable seat is really, really important. Now, the problem is, if they're all going down this way of making very uncomfortable seats, and, I'd love to know your view on this. Do you find your seat uncomfortable? I'm not talking about the whiz around the block. I'm not talking about maybe an hour, although some people have said that within an hour of riding on their bikes, and that's everything from a little Honda 125 DAX to some of the bigger motorcycles, they've said it's really uncomfortable. So I'd love to know your view on it. Has your bike got a comfortable seat? So my view is that you need to be comfortable on the bike. And the question is how you're going to do it. Now, I've tried different options. I have bought the comfort seats for bikes. Total waste of time. My son also did it. Total waste of time. Here an F800 GS. Didn't make any difference. I've bought different types of saddles, one with more back support, if you like, for the Harleys. It was okay. The seat itself didn't make any difference, although it wasn't terribly uncomfortable in the first place. It didn't get better, let's put it that way. I have seen that people have gone for restuffing of the seats, and actually that makes a lot of sense to me, because you can almost customize it for your individual backside, and that ain't a bad thing. The only problem I would imagine with that is that if you've taken your original seat and you've taken it to some upholsterers who then stuff it and create it the way you want, maybe they customize it with your name or whatever, you then got a problem if you ever sell the bike, because you haven't got a genuine stock seat, and they're not cheap to go and buy afterwards. So you know, that may be an option for some. It's never been an option for me. Didn't want to spend that sort of money on having some sort of individual seat, but I get it. I understand why people do it. So what other options are there? Well, sheepskin, and I think that's a great idea. I've never ridden one more than a short journey with a sheepskin, and the one thing I did notice was on a hot day, my backside got really hot. And the other thing was you're obviously raised off the seat a little bit. Now, that's not a main problem for me, because I did the BMW off-road riding school in Wales, only the level 1, I hasten to add. And it taught me a lot and gave me a lot more confidence in that I'm okay hanging my, you know, one of my cheeks, of my backside over to the side when I stop to get my foot down, because the rest of the time, you know, I'm on tiptoe because I've only got a 30-inch inside leg. So, you know, most of the time I'm on tiptoe on the big adventure bikes. But I soon learned to ride bikes which, like my son's F800, which had 35-inch seats, and it never really bothered me. And I hired one in Cambodia. That was a massive seat height. It was a Honda 250 off-road, massive knobblies, huge seat. I mean, barely. I had to take sort of a running jump to get on it. But, you know, once you're on it, it does sink a little bit. And, of course, momentum keeps you going. And when you come to a stop, just hang your cheek off, as I say, and stick your leg down. So I really don't worry about that anymore. I think when I was younger, I probably thought, oh, you know, I really want 2 feet flat. Actually, you get to adjust. You learn to adjust quite easily. So the sheepskin was okay. The other problem with it was, of course, if you get torrential rain, that's another problem, because you've got this wet sheepskin all the time. So I've been looking at things to do and what to do, because I'm going to hire another 750 very shortly, well, in the new year. So I thought I'll try something new. So I've ordered and received this Oxford Air Seat. Now, I don't know much about them in terms of what comfort they bring, only what I've read. But I have to say, I was sort of looking at the different options, and you can go on any of these import companies and buy these for next to nothing. But I bought it from the sports bike shop for about, I think it was on sale for about £65. And what you get is you get this sort of the cover on the outside, which actually, to be fair, has this sort of air pocket, if you like. So hopefully you won't be too hot underneath. Then you get, of course, the inflatable part, and it looks pretty robust. Again, I haven't tried it, haven't strapped it on the bike, but it looks pretty good. The one thing I did like about it, you get a miniature pump and a valve. You connect the two, put it into the valve here, and of course you can just pump it up like a bicycle tyre. And it really doesn't take a lot of effort to get some air in it, and actually very quickly you can have too much air. And I did try it sitting on a few different things, and you know, you get that sort of rocking height if it gets too much air in. So I think probably less is more in this case, just put a little bit in. But I'm really keen to give this a go. When I hire this 750 in Chile, I'm really interested if this is going to make a difference. Now, for my colleague who's joining me, my good friend Simon, he was saying that he didn't want to try this because it raised it up. I mean, it probably raises up a good inch, maybe a bit more if you inflate it. And that then, you know, if you're a bit short in the leg, you can start to feel as though you're too high and sitting on the bike, not in the bike. So I get it, and he's not going to do it. I'm just doing it because, as I say, I've had experience of an F750 GS, and it was just so uncomfortable. I really struggled with it. So I'm going to try it. Let me know, if you can, what other things you've tried, or what are your recommendations, because I do think manufacturers are changing the quality of the seats. And as I say, removing perhaps some of the stuffing, maybe making them slimmer, making them lighter, and we're not getting that plush feeling that we used to have. Either that, or I've forgotten if they were bad. I don't think it's that case because I've had, probably 30 different motorcycles, and I've ridden them everywhere: Australia, New Zealand, Cambodia, all over the States, all the way down to the Florida Keys, up in Boston, over the Grand Canyon way, and I've ridden everywhere in Europe as well. So, it's not like I've only ridden one bike and thought, oh, that's uncomfortable. I've ridden loads of bikes, and most of them used to be comfortable, but I'm finding they're not comfortable now. So I really would like your thoughts on this, and let me know in the comments what you do. And also, do you limit yourself to like shorter rides, or do you stop every hour? I mean, getting older, I tend to stop quite often for a toilet break, and maybe that's a way to stretch your legs, etc. But for longer journeys, I'm going to give this product a go. And the other thing I really like about the idea of it is that, as I say, because I've had some training, I'm not worried so much about reaching the floor and it being flat-footed, but I do like the extra length you get in your leg. It doesn't bend so much like a horse jockey, your leg's not so bent. So a little bit extra stretch in the legs will do me good. So anyway, that's just my thoughts. I'd love to know yours on seat comfort, what you do, what's your experience, and yeah, let me know in the comments. And thank you, as always, for watching. Hope you liked Ava joining us in the conversation. She's definitely gone off now, gone back to her box and having a little sleep down there. Thanks for watching, guys.